Beach FM, locals talking to locals.
Beach FM, wonderful to welcome back to the radio Renee Corlett from WREMO, the Wellington Regional Emergency Management Office. Did I get it right, Renee?
You did, and every time you do this, you are getting better and better. It's quite a mouthful. I know it's quite a mouthful. It took me a good while to figure out it as well.
Oh, well, you know, we do try. Often we miss terribly, but however, it's lovely to talk to you. And Renee, you've had certainly one of the most interesting and I imagine trying a few months of your life recently. Are you getting back to normal now?
I think so. It's a very kind of slow process with events like this. It's not like an earthquake, you know, where all of a sudden everything happens and it's all go from the beginning. It was kind of a slower onset event, and then it will definitely be a slower onset kind of moving into recovery. But what's really nice for me is now that things have kind of settled a bit, I get to go back into my community and I get to connect with the people that I didn't see for quite a while. So I get to come back and talk to them and ask them what their experience was of what we've all just gone through as a country.
Well, what have you been finding out?
Well, lots of interesting things. I think the first thing that made me kind of really, really happy and proud, I guess, was just how well and how resilient communities were, how connected we were as well. I know that before COVID, I kind of worked a lot in the space of encouraging that community connectedness and resilience, and it's nice to know that when things really do go south, the majority of the community worked together and had each other's backs and connected in ways that they had kind of never thought of before, really creative ways. Even last week I was driving down the road and I saw a group of Waikanai residents still sitting out at the end of their driveways on their lawn chairs, and I stopped and had a chat to them. And they said, yeah, we've been doing this ever since we've been allowed to do it. So that was really good to see that that's continuing on.
That's lovely. And you deal with a number of different organisations, don't you? You speak to a number of different organisations.
Yeah, I do. I work with a wide range of community groups. I work with people like Age Concern, local community resilience groups as well. There's, particularly in Paikokariki, there's a really great, strong group. There are people who work together and support each other. They're very active, so
they sure
I can have a chat to them as well.
That's an amazing organisation. Now, that one did carry on all the way. In fact, they seem to grow an extra set of legs and run even faster, the Paikakariki one. Some of the organisations, I imagine, though, had difficulty keeping the enterprise going, and particularly keeping the continuity going. There has been some disruptions, hasn't there?
Absolutely, and I think when we talk about a new normal as well, somebody said to me the other day, and said, well, there's nothing normal about this. And that's really true in terms of things and people getting re-established. And this event is just it's a real anomaly in terms of what we would normally expect from an emergency event, where people kind of very well connected and things can kind of, although they're very changed and you have to work around some things, when the lockdown happened, it was very isolating for a lot of people in a lot of communities. So it's nice to see that some of the businesses are kind of thinking of really innovative ways that they can work around this. But without a doubt, this is a very challenging time, particularly on the economic recovery front.
And for people like you, you were involved in the major, you're well and truly on the front line. And I know that many of the things you were planning for were worst case scenarios. So luckily, a lot of your work in that respect was in vain. However, we've seen in the news, in the United States, they're now having over 60,000 new cases per day. Wuhan, where this started off, has a population of 55,000. So we're getting, in the United States, a Wuhan a day. And so this is raging around the world at the moment, and there's no way that we can declare victory and say we're into the recovery phase with a straight face. I mean, it is still an enormous challenge to us and to the world.
Absolutely, particularly on a global front, and certainly in New Zealand we've got our own challenges, but we're in the very privilege of position of being, we're an island. It makes it kind of easier for us. We have a small population. We have a population of people who, on the whole, really got it and really understood and really pulled together and made significant sacrifices for the kind of communal good. So we're very kind of blessed in that regard, but certainly globally this is a very, very challenging, a little bit unpredictable event. So we talk about kind of the short-term recovery in terms of what's happening now, but definitely for the future, this will be we can see this continuing for on a global scale for who knows.
Who knows? Well, no one knows. I mean, that is the point, isn't it? And there's a certain amount of anxiety around for obvious reasons. So the point that you've been making for ages for us to get prepared, to be resilient, surely it must be really coming home now that people can see what you're getting at.
Well, I hope so. And I kind of made the joke that I spent the last 9 months doing what COVID did in 1 or 2 days in terms of personal preparedness.
Yeah.
But for me, that's the best case scenario. You know, that's like right. people get prepared, and that's absolutely fantastic. People kind of sit up and take notice. And I think I talked on a previous program as well about how pandemic was actually our highest risk. There's a lot of focus on earthquakes.
That's right.
And this happened, and it was a good opportunity in a way, I guess, for people to think, hey, does happen, and we do need to keep up that level of resilience, and there is some uncertainty about the future. So now more than ever, it's important to stay connected and stay safe and stay prepared. That's kind of what my message has shifted to now, because people have got a really good understanding of what it requires, and now it's just keeping that, not becoming complacent.
We're there now in terms of knowing what we have to do, and we'll just look across the Tasman to Melbourne. It's one of my favourite cities in the world. Look at what's happening there. Going back into lockdown, the state being sealed off by the army. Who would have thought? Who would have thought in the 21st century that this was going to happen in a modern, wonderful place such as Victoria? So it is happening. We've got the experience now. We know what we have to do. We certainly hope that we don't have to go into a second lockdown. But, Renee, you've been preaching this for quite some time, and certainly it has come to pass. You've been very, very valuable in imparting your wisdom over the years here on Beach FM, and now it has come to pass that we can see what you're getting at. Keep up the great work. Lovely to talk to you once again. Renee Corlett from WREMO. You're always welcome here on Beach FM. Thank you.
Thanks very much. Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
106.3 Beach FM.